go. Okay, we're rolling anytime.
Here we go now.
Welcome to the program. The date is January the 10th, 2006. I'm Noel, I'm Noel McGovern, and I'll be the interviewer. We got Kevin Conlon on the camera, and Peg O'Leary is taking the notes. So we're ready to go, and the guest of honour today is Peter Doonan. And the tough questions first, Peter.
There you
We'll
go.
ask you to give us your full name, and then just tell us where you were born, what part of Ireland, down to the parish and townland, if you can.
That sounds good. Yeah, my name is Pete Doonan. I was born in Clunay, Drummond, County Leitrim, parish of Bornacoola.
Parish of Barnacool.
Parish of Bornacoola.
That name.
Yeah,
Just
you like
about Barnacool, that it just rings.
Yeah.
You know. Now, why did you get the name Peter? Was it
grandfather's name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have a middle name or?
No middle name at all.
And that's also all of the Irish that.
The Irish, none of them had middle
Yeah.
names.
Some those that did had about 5 or 6.
Oh, they had, yeah.
But
a lot of them had, yeah.
Barnacool in County Leitrim.
Yes, yeah.
How close is that to the biggest? What big town?
Actually, Drummond was the smallest village, and that was about 3 miles from where I was born. That was only a village. The town was Mohill, would be 5 miles. Mohill, Mohill. I'm sure you often heard of that. Maybe
I was in it often.
Yeah. And it was a small town anyway. Now that I go back and I drive through it, I said, my God, you're in, you're out. It's gone already. You're through it.
And then Carrick-on-Shannon would have been...
Carrick-on-Shannon was about 11 miles from me, yeah.
How many other...
I have a sister who lives in Carrick-on-Shannon and her family.
How many was in the family?
9.
Wow.
6 boys and 3 girls.
Could we go through them, who the worst for the record?
Yeah. Maureen, Michael, Tommy, myself, Peter, Jim, John, Nancy, Eileen, and Joe.
And where did you come in?
I'm the fourth. Yeah.
Are they all...
6 boys. No, there's 2 deceased, yeah.
And was your parents both from Barnacool?
No, my mother was from Bornacoola, and my father married in there. It was a farm she had, a small farm, maybe about 50 acres, 55 acres of land, and he married in there. He wasn't from Bornacoola, no, he was from another part of, he was the Mohill area.
Okay.
Yeah.
And...
married in there, she was only 19, he was 32, so you can imagine that. That's why all these children, and there was no TV in the house.
No.
So.
Probably not even the radio.
There wasn't, no.
Was that farm belong to your grandparents?
It did, it belonged to my grandparents, yeah.
And what was their name now?
Cavill. Peter Cavill.
Cavill.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was an only daughter, my mom. Yeah.
So she lived there. The grandparents lived there. Do you
Right.
remember your grandparents at all?
I barely remember my grandmother. Yeah, very faintly. Yeah, she did live with the family. We lived there with them, but just faintly remember her.
They were. Give us an idea of the setting of the home, or the house itself.
The house was at first it was a long thatched house with I think 3 bedrooms, large kitchen, a lot of outhouses like houses for cattle and stuff like that. You know, hay sheds, turf sheds, that kind of thing. Yeah, like I said, there was about 50 acres or something like that, and they held cattle and livestock and all of that type of horses and cows and.
So you're looking at the typical country kitchen. With
Typical country big kitchen, yes, with the flagstone floors, yeah. No running water now, and no toilet facility inside. There was no running water in that house.
Does there have to be a well or a river?
No, there was, yes.
Was the school?
The national school was only about 15 minutes from us. We used to walk to school. And walk to church most of the time. Church was in Bornacoola. It was St. Michael's. It was, I'd say, a walk, maybe 3/4 of an hour to walk. As children, we walked. My father and mother went in the buggy and trap, the horse and trap. They used to call it a trap, just like a buggy. So they would go on that, and whoever was the oldest, if they had a bike, they ride a bicycle. If not, you walked. You had to go to church. There was only 2 services on Sunday, 8 and 11, I think. 8 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock.
And you got First Communion and...
Oh, yeah, for everything, the whole bit there, yeah. You grew up there, yeah. Yeah.
Did you, after school, did you go to a secondary school?
Secondary school in Mohull Tech. Mohull Tech. I went there and I got out of there at 18.
So that would have been a cycling...
That was a cycling, yeah. That was a bicycle job, yeah. That was just...
to touch on a couple of the holidays, the Christmas, like for instance in Barnacoula.
Oh my God, Christmas in Barnacoula was small. Never had too much of anything for it. Like, it wasn't an elaborate thing. I never had a Christmas tree. There was never Christmas trees. And you had like cake and coffee and maybe a bottle of wine or a curd brack cake or something like that. That's what it was, yeah. So Christmas was not a big thing when I was growing up, no.
What would be your fondest memories of
getting out of there? No, I had good times in Ireland, yeah, growing up there, yes. But I did get out of there when just after getting out of the tech school. I was 18, I headed across to England. Yeah.
Now, before we get that far, I want to talk to you about, were you involved in any of the football?
Oh yeah, football and hurling, yeah, we used to have a lot of that through the school, you know. Through the high school and through the grammar school, we used to have the football games, you know.
Because I know that Barnacoula was always involved with some other...
Yeah.
In fact, they had a big game there this year, but some other parish
right.
around County Limerick.
We used to have the football... Actually, we had the football field where Andy O'Leary's sister had a bar back in Drummond. And that was where our football field, that's where we would go to. Right. That was where we would go for the games. Okay. That was a big football field there in that area right there.
So after leaving, now what about, before we go to England, what about the dances?
Dances were great.
Yeah.
You cycled to the dances, rain or snow, Drumlish, Longford, into Mohull.
Those are good.
The different, yeah, it was. Drumlish was about a good hour's ride from us, but that was in County Longford, yeah.
Right on the bicycle and...
Yeah, Longford town, I would say, go by car now is about 20 minutes, half hour, that's about it, from where I lived.
It was a good ride on a bike, though.
Then Rooski had the Cloudland, they had big dance halls there, which was another 20 minutes, and we would ride there. Rooski was another small village where we always went to the bars there and different things, dances in particular.
And the Shannon River run through you?
Ran right through it, yeah. It ran right down between Roscommon and Leitrim. Yeah. That was the dividing line, really.
That's true,
yeah. River Shannon, yeah.
So you headed for England?
After school, yeah. Became a bartender. First job in England was a bartender, yeah. Behind the bar. London, Kilburn. Yeah, northwest London, yeah. Was a bartender there for about 2 years. Yeah. Left that then, and I moved on to London Transportation as a conductor on the buses. You know those double-decker buses that you see? I stayed on that for a while. I think maybe a year and a half. After that, then I went with the British Oxygen Company. And then I left that and came out here. That was my tour in London.
So you were about, what, 5 or 6 years there?
I was close to 5 years in London, yeah, before I came here, yeah.
When you came out here, did you know people out here?
My sister Maureen was here. I was leaving for Australia, myself and some other guys, and we were going with a construction company, and they were going to pay our way, and we would have to stay like 2 years with them as a contract to pay back our money. And I wrote to Maureen here, which was my sister Dick Corcoran's wife, and I said, told her I was going there. So she said, no, they'll fill out the papers, and why didn't I come here? So I did. That's what I did. Then I let my friends went off to Australia, and I came for America. I'm glad I did. It's the best thing ever happened to me.
So Maureen was here?
Maureen was here, yeah. She came here in 1948. 47, actually.
And she was married to
Dick Corcoran, yeah.
I just want to mention
Tipperary man, yeah.
Tipperary man and one of the founding
One of the founding, her and him, yeah. She was the first recording secretary of this club.
Okay.
Yeah, she was that first recording secretary.
So when you came to America, how did you come? By ship or by
plane? Pan American plane. I did have the fare, just about.
into
Idlewild Airport, yeah, which is now Kennedy, yeah.
What was your first impressions of this country?
The big cars. I loved the cars. I couldn't imagine those cars that size. You know, back then, at that years, they had those wings in the back, you know, from the Chevys, the floats. That impressed me an awful lot.
What year did you come?
Came in 57. Yeah.
And
the end of 57, yeah.
And when you came, we know, Maureen was in Bridgeport area.
Yeah, she was living. They lived in Bridgeport. Yeah.
So you came here.
Came right to Bridgeport. I was living with her for a couple of months, and then moved on from that to rooms and apartments and stuff like that.
What was your first job? What did you do?
My first job was a sexton at St. Augustine's Cathedral. Oh. That was my first job to work. Yeah. Small money, but it was a job. It was something you got off the thing, you know. From there, I went then on to Connecticut Light and Power, and I stayed with them then all those years till I retired. Yeah, Northeast Utilities. Yeah.
Who was in charge of St. Augustine's at the
time? I'm trying to think. It was a Monsignor Barney.
Yeah.
He's long passed. He's long dead then.
That's interesting.
Yeah, stayed there. I think 2 years, something like that. 2.5 years. As the sexton of the church, yeah. Actually, I was there when Bishop Curtis arrived.
Oh, okay.
That's many years ago, yeah. And then I left shortly after that.
Then you probably got involved with the Gaelic American Club.
Oh yes, on Fairfield Avenue, of course, upstairs on the 3rd floor. That was a great place. All the Irish. That's where we all congregated, yeah. Everybody met everybody, and we had no license, no liquor license at that time. We used to haul the beer upstairs from the Clover Club on State Street. There was a bar there with Bud Keane, God rest his soul, yeah. And the beer company would not deliver to the club because it was a 3-floor. The stairs were wobbly going up and down. In the back, the fire escapes. That's how we used to do it. But they would drop it off at the Clover Club, and we would go down then, a bunch of the Irish guys at night, and haul the stuff up. And that's it. We had no bar. We had a table across the door was our bar. And I don't know if we had a cash register even. I don't think we did. Maybe 2 or 3 bottles of booze. There was like Seagram 7, I think VO and Scotch. I think 3 bottles. That was about it.
Because most of the drinks at the time, people just asked for highballs or beer.
Highballs, yeah. It was. You never hear that mentioned anymore. Give me a highball.
And that was big in the.
That was usually the Seagram and ginger ale. Is the highball, yeah, or 7-Up.
It was the main drink.
It was, yeah.
And then you went on to Connecticut Light and
Power. I was with them for years, yeah. Yeah, I worked in the nuclear power plants up in Waterford with them for quite a number of years. We used to have to do a hitch there nearly every year. Like a 3 months of a hitch every year. But my main base was Norwalk, down on the island, down in South Norwalk, the powerhouse down there. That was my main thing. But we would have to go to the nukes for 3 months a year up in Waterford and in East Haddam. But they were a very good company to work for. Most of the Irish worked, or many were for utilities. So that's how we all headed for that. You know, good coverage, good hospitalization.
That's true.
All of that. A good pension, good retirement.
The utilities of the telephone company of the railroad.
Yeah, I know. It was either or, yeah.
It seems
it was, yeah. But we had good times on Fairfield Avenue up on the 3rd floor. It was great. That's where I met my wife up there, too.
That's where you met Marianne?
Yeah, met Marianne up there, yeah.
Okay. And your wife comes from?
Kerry, yeah. Yeah, she's from Lixna.
How many... maybe just how would this hit on your family now, so we don't. How many?
My own children?
Your own children?
Oh, I have 4.
Okay.
3 boys and a girl.
Okay.
And 3 of them are married, and my youngest is out in San Diego, California.
And their names are?
The names are Tommy, Michael, Eileen, and Brian. Yeah.
And the youngest is in California?
Yeah, my youngest, yeah, he's out there, yeah. Yeah, he loves it there.
He loves it there.
Yeah, he does, yeah, it's great. And I have 5 grandchildren.
Oh, wonderful. Name them too.
I have 5 grandchildren. Mackenzie, Connor and Tyler,
Okay.
and then Carolyn and Jack is my youngest. And those are two Doonans, Jack and Carolyn. Yeah.
Okay.
The other ones are dance shows. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to just step back a little bit too, and talk about other places that you went to. Like, when you came here to Bridgeport, did you go into New York?
Oh, New
City?
Haven, New York. New Haven actually was my first
Really?
hangout. Yeah, on State Street in New Haven was an Irish club,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a pub there, Cassidy's Pub. We used to all. That was where all the Irish met there then in New Haven. But I hung out an awful lot in New Haven, because Bridgeport really. That was before they even had a club. They used to rent on Hard Avenue or somewhere. It was the Duke of Abruzzi Hall.
Right.
They used to meet there, but there was only a dance there once a month or something. But New Haven had a much larger Irish crew, and that's where we used to go.
Okay.
And then, of course, New Rochelle.
New Rochelle.
We used to hang out there.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, New York,
Yeah.
city centre.
Yeah.
Most of the places in New York. That's where we hung out, spent all our time.
New Rochelle, go back to the name of Paddy Curran. Was that?
Yeah, that's who it was. Yes, I remember very well. Yes, that was a good place. Yeah.
Man, that was the Benevolent Hall on
Hall.
Huguenot Street.
That's right. What was the name of the street?
Isn't it Huguenot?
Yeah, I think it was. Yes.
Yeah.
Can't even think it's so many years ago now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
But we had good times there too. Well, we always moved around. We'd be coming home at 6 o'clock in the morning from these places. You know, you stayed out all night. You know.
And there wasn't too many cars around.
There was no car. Very few. Yeah, I always caught the train. Yeah.
Going back to Ireland again, since now you emigrated and you're over here. Was your parents were living and did you go back?
Oh, there were. Yeah, I would go back and forth. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
who stayed? Who's at the? Who's in the?
Nobody now in the home place. The home place now, everybody moved out of there. So my brother in New York owns the place,
Okay.
and he lets it